Saya datang ke sesi dialog ini untuk menimba pengalaman bisnes, memandangkan saya adalah generasi Y. Kita ada gap generation dengan Tun Daim. So saya ingin mengutip pengalaman dan mutiara berharga bagaimana beliau boleh set up satu empire business yang sangat hebat. As we know, Tun Daim seorang usahawan yang berjaya, dan saya sangat-sangat berharap dapat mengutip mutiara berharga daripada beliau.
Keadaan negara kita sekarang dengan keadaan ekonomi kita yang tak menentu, dengan nilai mata wang ringgit yang dah jatuh, so we need to know we need to ask him, and we need to know his opinion about what is the best action that we should do. Because in my humble opinion, I think that negara kita sekarang kekurangan leader-leader yang setaraf dengan Tun Daim. So I really appreciate the initiative that you guys doing here, having a dialogue, so that people like us, the young generation, have this opportunity to ask him, and also we can, at least he can direct us about our destination in our business and to get some advice.
Here, attending our Aspiration series, would want to be inspired as well as aspire probably to be him, and I'm sure most of us would want to do that. We are indeed lucky to have him here with us, and he's our first guest for our Aspiration series, and we hope to have a few more, but having him as the first one, I would believe augurs well for our future programs. Just for the record, let me briefly just share you guys a little bit of Tun's background. Not that you do not know it, but as I said, just for the record, yeah. He's a lawyer by training. He became the finance minister in 1984 to 1991. That was the first round, and that was at the time when we were going through an economic slowdown. And then he was made the NEAC, the National Economic Action Council chairman in 1997. Again, that was a time when we suffered the second round of the economic crisis, or rather that time it was called the currency turmoil. Then he was made the Special Functions Minister in 1998, and later on reassumed the Finance Ministership in 1999, which he held on until 2001. And I don't know whether this is true, Tun, your first business was in salt. Yeah, salt as in garam, yeah. Okay, Tun, without further ado, I would like to introduce our audience, who are a large budding businessmen, and in their own right, they have made their name. Without further ado, Tun, we will start the session, which I hope to be as interactive as possible, with Tun giving a brief overview on the current economic and political situation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi ya. Nombor satu, minta maaf lambat. Hilang jalan. Kuala Lumpur has grown so much since I first came to Kuala Lumpur. Dulu we can cycle anywhere, no problem, no traffic light gitu gini. Sekarang massive jam everywhere. Nombor dua, I don't know why you invited me. I've retired, first retirement 1977, long before you were all born, yeah, and for a wrong reason, I decided that time, my ambition was to make money. I make money, I retired. It was silly, anyway. Number three, I'm told that Datuk Kadir is here, I don't know, he's under 40. Anyway, kita should congratulate him. Dia punya blog dah 9 years old, dia kata, yeah. Let's hope we continue to write. Now, I think Sufi has given me some topic. The topic you mentioned just now is about economy. I prefer to start off taking risks. Yeah. Risk taker. I have been a risk taker all my life. Yeah. From young, from school days. First time I took the risk, I went to see the headmaster in the school. Your policies are wrong. I don't agree with your policies. So when the headmaster asked me, so what do you want to do? I said, I want to leave the school. And I left the school. I went to another school, and the superintendent called the headmaster and wanted to speak to me. So I spoke to him and said, you come back, from where you are. I said, why? I said, no. He said, otherwise I withdraw your scholarship. I said, go ahead and withdraw my scholarship. And then he said, let me speak to the headmaster. So he spoke to my new headmaster and said, you sack him. So the headmaster told me, he said, I've been instructed to sack you. I said, go ahead and sack me. So I went to Penang Free School. I went to Penang Free School to see the headmaster. He was sleeping. So I told the Amma, please wake him up. I want to see the headmaster. So the Amma said, no, you can't. This is Ahmad Saleh. You can't go and disturb him. I said, you go call him. He said, I want to speak to the headmaster. He came down. I said, why? What do you want? I said, I want to get admitted to your school. I said, why? Yeah, I said, I want a place to study. And he said, what's your name? I gave my name. Oh, I said, you are a person. No, there's no place for you. So I went back to my headmaster. I said, look, no government school is going to accept me. Obviously, they have a record on me. So he said, can you help me to go to another private school? So then he said, okay, he'll recommend me to St. Xavier's Institution, Penang. I was admitted there. For the first time, I had to compete with the non-Malays. In a Lost Star, it was all Malays, special Malay class and all those things. It's first time, But my problem is I hate to study. I think it's a waste of time. Of course, later I regret. I should have studied. I should have studied. Anyway, went through the process, got through my school certificate, taking again the risk. I took the minimum number of subjects. And my master said, you better take one extra subject in case you fail in one. I said, don't worry, I will pass all. Yeah. See, I am very confident of myself. I think that's important for you all. Yeah? To succeed in life, first of all, you must be very confident in yourself. Okay, I passed. I went back to the old school. I said, I want to be a teacher. I went back. And then I applied to go to the Teachers College at that time in England. Yeah. My name appeared there, but the letter never came, for admission. So it was lucky. Otherwise, for life, I would be a teacher, But the recommendation by the headmaster, the new headmaster, was that this young man, at his age, is full confident of himself. That he was prepared to fight for his right. I became a temporary teacher. Salary was not enough. It was not enough. So my mother said, why are you wasting time working when there's not enough money for yourself? She said, why don't you go and do further studies? But I said, where's the money? He said, never mind, I will sell my paddy fields, you go to England and study. So I asked, at that time, I asked Zahir, later became Tun Zahir, Speaker of Parliament. He recommended me to go to England. You need recommendation those days. So I left. Before the age of 19, I left for England. At that time, the Suez Canal was closed. So I have to go around Cape of Good Hope, Africa. And it took 1 month. On the boat, I became a man. Yeah. For the first time in my life, I become responsible. I said, this time, I must not disappoint my parents, I must study. But I went to stop at South Africa. And for the first time, I saw injustice. I wanted to go to a restaurant, it's only whites only, blacks to go somewhere. I want to go to the toilet, black here, white here. I want to go to the beach, white for white, reserved for white. I said, wow, But South Africa is a very beautiful country. And I fell in love with Africa. I fell in love with Africa. Went to England, I was determined to finish my study within 18 months. The reason is, I must not disappoint my parents. As I told you, on the boat, I became a changed person, became responsible. That life has changed me completely. That 1 month on the boat completely changed my life. And of course, in London, probably I was the youngest student. And I was determined to finish it within 18 months. In London, I met, of course, people like Hussein On, Tun Ghazali, Manan, Kamarul Arifin, Syahidan Baba, Tan Sri Zainuddin. They became, friends. I was very close with Hussein On. Studied to him every day after lunch. People tell me, people discuss about Hussein On. Yeah, Hussein On was very slow as a person. He likes to underline everything. Ada red ink, red pen, blue pen, make ruler sana, ruler sini. So it took him 12 years to pass law. I mean, if you want to underline everything, of course, it takes a long time. Yeah? He was a decent man anyway. He became prime minister, whether you like it or not. Yeah? Ghazali became minister of finance. Manan became minister of public enterprise and later on minister of agriculture. And I, of course, later on, unfortunately, became minister of finance. So, that's life in London. Now, the thing I learned in London, number one, other than law, is politics. Hussein On taught me politics. Gave me the history of UMNO, how disappointed he was with UMNO. He left with his father to join Parti Negara and all those things, but that's history. The other character who taught me politics is Sulaiman Alias, the late Sulaiman Alias. You may not have heard him, Kadi would know him, He was very ambitious. He wanted to be a politician. He wanted to replace Sa'adun. He said, I want to be Minister for Transport. Of course, he never made it. Yeah? Last person who taught me politics was Said Alba, Sayamin's father. Uneducated, but brilliant in politics. Yeah? And of course, I read a lot of things. In between studying, I read. Within 18 months, I qualified. I came back. But I took a train. I wanted to see the world. I was very much influenced by the neutral leaders of the world. Tito, Nasser, Nehru, Sukarno, Prince Suharno, and Secretary of Africa. I took a train, and because I held a British passport, I could go to the communist country, Because when I went, we were still under British. When I came back, the country is still independent, So I went to see Yugoslavia. Very disappointed with the communists, Went to Egypt, disappointed with Nasser. Went to India, also disappointed with Nehru. The only socialist countries that were successful were Scandinavian countries. There was Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland. Very advanced, the quality of life, very high, So I came back. From there, from Egypt, I flew to India to Burma, saw Burma, then went to Thailand, and took a train back. Why did I take a train back? Because I went to a communist country. If I land in Kuala Lumpur, the immigration would have arrested me. Yeah? And probably put me under detention. But before I went to England, 1956, I took a train from Alostar to Kota Baru. And I met an immigration officer. So I took the risk. I said, if I come back through Padang Besar, I hope he would still be there as an immigration officer. And lucky enough, he was there. So he looked at my passport. Pergi mana ni? I just stopped. I said, never mind, nobody will know. So I escaped. So these are the risks you take in life, but calculated risks. Yeah. Now I came back. Then the Tan Sri Kade at that time was legal advisor in Kedah, wanted me to join the civil service, legal service. And Tun Sufyan also wanted me to join legal service. I said no. I said a Malay must take a risk, in order to succeed. I said, I want to practice law, and I want to practice in Kuala Lumpur, At that time, there was another Malay who was practicing already, my good friend Zain Azhari. He was with a bridal Gamani, and I came to Kuala Lumpur not knowing anybody. So I asked the Zahir whether he recommend me to anybody. He recommended me to Ati Nahapan. If you remember, Ati Nahapan was minister, MIC minister, Prime Minister's Department. And he introduced me to an Indian lawyer where I could read my chambers. So I read my chambers, And one day I was walking along Jalan Market. I met a friend of mine from London, Ismail. His father was Commissioner of Land and Mine. He asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm reading in chambers in this Indian. He said, why? He said, I introduced him to my father. He'll give you, he'll find you a good legal firm. The next day I went to his father. Of course, his father called Sean Delamo and said, look, it was the biggest firm at that time. Wow, and then I got, next day, I got a place in Sean Delamo, the biggest firm in Kuala Lumpur. So I read my chambers there. I worked in Sean after I qualified, I worked in Sean only for 1 month. I decided to go to Kota Baru to work with Wan Mustafa, who was legal advisor for PAS. And I came to know PAS very well. Like I stay in Kelantan, get to know Asri, Zulkifli, everybody. And everybody thought I was PAS, but I was not PAS. I worked for 1 year, then I decided to join the civil service this time. So I started in Johor, where Raja Azlan was legal advisor. Got to know Raja Azlan. Later on, more, and then became DPP in Perak, where Tun Hamid was legal advisor. The reason I joined the service was to do networking. It's important in Malaysia that you know people. Within 3 years, I get to know everybody in the civil service, from Chief Justice, Lord President, AG, all the DPPs, And while practicing, I got to know Dato' Harun, Dato' Harun Idris. It's important, get to know these people. This is the networking that I did. Yeah? By that time, I already know PAS. Yeah? I already know all those in the civil service. And I retired from the civil service in 1965, joined Ellen Glehill. Then the crisis came in Sarawak, 1966. 7 Kalonikan case. The government wanted me to do the case, so I went to Sarawak. First round we lost, second round we won. The first time I attended cabinet meeting. So chaired by Tun Razak. So I briefed them that what should be done, how to succeed. And of course, they followed the legal advice, and we succeeded. And Kalonikan was removed, Tavis leaving came. Then came 1967, the year in which, after 10 years independence, Malay was being made the national language. I opposed it. I opposed the bill. So there was a big debate going on. I went to see Tun Razak because by then I knew Tun Razak already. So I asked Tun Razak, why are you doing this to the Malays? Tun Razak said, his words, saya pun menangis tentang nasib Melayu. So then there was going to be, they asked me to a debate. So I went to the debate in Mara, over the National Language Act. And I gave speeches, all over the country. Got Hussein on back to be involved in politics, So Hussein on for the first time came back in politics, spoke against the National Language Act. So I debated first time in Mara, against Osman. Osman was formerly from PAS, and then became information officer of UMNO, one of their good debaters, because I was a lawyer, very dramatic style, pergi sana kata, tengok ni, bagi tahu kat student, tengok ni, dia kata rang undang-undang, untuk mewujudkan bahasa Melayu sebagai kebangsaan. Tuan-tuan dah kena tipu. Bacakan undang-undang ni, saya kata. Bacakan undang-undang ni. Sebenarnya undang-undang ni mempertahankan bahasa Inggeris, bahasa Cina. Kena tepuk lah kan. Budak-budak sana dengar dia tepuk. Dia kata, tengok kerjaan kita telah memainkan bangsa sendiri. Kita tak boleh percaya kepada Tunku Meraman kerana darah dia bukan darah Melayu. Tepuk orang. Dulu semangatlah, sekarang tak boleh semangat, dah tua. Overnight became a hero. Overnight jadi hero, jadi guru-guru kesalahan guru Melayu datang jumpa, so jadi peguam mereka. Union Melayu datang, so jadi peguam mereka. Ramai lagi datang sebagai peguam. Tapi minggu depan polis pun datang. Si situ datang kata, Daim, stop it. We know you are not a subversive, but stop it. You're going too far against the government. Yalah, saya masih muda waktu tu, anak masih kecil. Dia kata, don't sleep in your own house. Dia kata, dia advice dia. Pasal apa? Dia baik dengan saya, bini anak dia kerja dengan saya. Di situ ni. Dia kata, be careful. They are about to arrest you. So stop it. Tak apalah, kita masih muda kan. Waktu pada semangat, tapi dah okey lah. Give up, tak mengapa. Then, tapi dalam one the reason, ramai orang marah kepada kerajaan tahun 67, waktu itu ramai yang bercakap, darah akan mengalir. Kerana artikel 152, macam-macam semangat satu negara. Jika itu ada orang mati one MP mati di Kelantan. makcik kan. Jadi ada by-election. So si Asri call me up. And say, Daim, orang Kelantan mau you bertanding di Kelantan. Dah jadi hero lah di Kelantan. Bertanding apa? Saya berjuangkan tentang bahasa Melayu. Saya kata, I told Asri, look, I'm not even part. I pass. Itu lain kira. Dia kata, you setuju dulu. Bertanding. Saya kata, tak payahlah. Saya kata, let me succeed first in business. That's the first time Nik Aziz was born. Yeah. Instead of me bertanding, Nik Aziz bertanding. Alhamdulillah, dia dah mati lah sekarang, baru mati. Tak tidak, saya jadi pas lah bertanding ke sana. Tapi saya buat keputusan tak mau bertanding.